Welcome to CES In Depth, everybody, our daily wrap-up show here at International CES 2015. I'm Brian Cooley with my co-host, Senior Editor Donald Bell. And today we've got a very special guest joining us. Roger Lynch is Executive VP for Advanced Technologies at Dish. Roger, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I'm actually CEO of Sling TV. But,
okay. Is that a new title with the announcement?
I am also EVP of Advanced Technologies at Dish. But
now
with our announcement, yes.
Now that's out,
you got a new business card with the announcement.
I have a new business card, yes.
So Sling Television, probably not many people out there have not heard of it at this point. But in a nutshell, it's about 12 channels of what we would typically call cable or pay TV for $20 a month. What's the magic about it?
You know, it's really, it's what we think of as a next generation TV service. So unlike traditional pay TV where you buy a big bundle and it costs you $70, $80, I mean the average pay TV bill today is over $90 in the US. This is a smaller bundle, but it's also available on devices people already own. So unlike the traditional pay TV model where I have to call a call center, go through a credit check, sign a 2-year contract, have an installer come out, this is simple. You just download the app on whatever device, PC, Mac, phone, tablet, Roku, Amazon Fire, Xbox, and start watching the content, put in your credit card. You can cancel online anytime. So it's much more like
pure OTT, all internet delivered.
Yeah, all internet delivered. And it's much more like how millennials consume content on Spotify than it is a traditional pay TV service.
If I'm not a Dish customer at this point, can I walk in and do Sling Television without any other relationship with Dish?
Yeah, correct. This is entirely separate from the satellite service.
Okay.
Now, and how important was that $20 price point? I mean, that one came out when you were talking about Spotify. People spending already for a monthly subscription for a service. How did that $20 come up as the magic number?
When we looked at the market that we're trying to reach, it really is the market that is not choosing pay TV today. And that's principally millennials, but it's not just millennials. It's more than millennials. But if I talk about millennials for a minute, they have less disposable income, right? And the cost of pay TV has gone up dramatically. And when we did our research, we realized that was really the magic price point to hit. And it meant we needed different models with our programmers. It's not, we're not putting 100 channels in a basic package because then we'd have to charge $70.
Now, speaking of bigger bundles and bigger price, as far as we can see, your arch competitor at the near term is going to be PlayStation Vue, rolling out apparently next quarter. Price is TBD. I understand it's 70 plus channels. You guys are a very slimmer basket of channels. Tell me about your strategy and why you went with that number of channels versus trying to do something broader.
Sure. Well, I mean, you mentioned the 12. There are 12 Nielsen-rated networks in our basic package. On top of that, instead of the traditional pay TV model is big, bigger, biggest, right? And you look for the channels that you like, and if they're in the big package, you're lucky. If they're in the biggest package, you're unlucky.
Yeah, you're stuck.
And you got to buy all the other channels. This, you buy the base package, and then you can buy genre packs. So if you have kids and you want more kids channels, $5 more, you get a kids pack. You want more sports? Well, ESPN, ESPN2 are in the basic, but you can get the rest of the ESPN channels and other sports networks for $5. So you can customize the package to your needs.
So you do have the sports pack framed up, and there's a news pack, news and information pack.
There's a news and information, and there'll be others.
Okay.
You asked me about Sony. I only know what I've read about that, but what I've read is it looks like their strategy is different. It looks like they are replicating the traditional pay TV big bundle package over the internet. And that would, to me, that would go after the existing pay TV market, which is a fully distributed, saturated, and frankly now declining market. We are choosing to go after the growth market, which is the people who don't choose traditional pay TV.
Yeah, and you mentioned ESPN as part of the basic package, and CNN also for live news, live sports. How critical was that for you guys to get that in the bundle? Because I know I've heard a lot of stories about people trying to cut the cord over the past few years, get rid of that cable bill. But it's usually live news and live sports that are the real clinchers that they can't resist.
It is, yeah. If you look at research on cord cutting, cord nevers, millennials, if you look at the market we're going after, and you ask them, what's the channel? What's the channel that either keeps you from cutting cord or that you miss if you have cut it? It's ESPN. It's always the top of that list. So how important is it? It's very important. Very, very important.
So how's this going to roll out for someone who actually wants to use it? Oh, first of all, when will availability be?
We'll be launching this month. So this is not something we're announced now and launch a year later. We're launching this month. And in fact, through our service, we have a service, Dishworld Today, which is an OTT service. We stream tens of millions of hours of live television a month. But it's in languages other than English here in the U.S.
Yeah, it's your international content.
It's international, yeah. So it's enabled us to build up all the capabilities to do what we're doing now. So that the new Sling TV service is already in beta with those customers. We made it available to them first. And then we'll launch to the general public later this month, and you can just go to sling.com and put in your email address now, and then we'll let you know when it launches.
I would ask you what platform it's available on. You're saying it's on, and I remember hearing the announcement on Monday, it's a lot of them. Let's get to the shorter list. What's it not available on? It sounds like a long list is what it is on.
It's a lot of platforms. You know, our strategy on platforms is to really be on the devices that matter, the devices that people are watching their content on now. So it is, as you mentioned, Roku's a big platform, Amazon Fire is another one for us, Xbox, the new Google Nexus, of course all the mobile devices, iOS, Android, PC, Mac, you know, those are good. You know, we have there'll be more, you know, connected TVs, LG and Samsung we announced. We've not announced Apple TV, for instance, that's a big, device.
So like PlayStation and Apple TV are the main two that you don't have yet.
Those are two, yeah, but we have a big device distribution footprint already.
Yeah, covering phones and tablets
and
gets you a long way.
That'll continue to grow. We're very pleased with the number of devices we'll be on at launch.
What was the discussion with these rights holders that have been somewhat intransigent over history to do this? What did you do? What did you have to walk in the door to get them to wake up to it and say, yeah, we'll let you go there and do what we've been afraid of in the past, because either it mixes up our revenue or it siphons off you viewers?
Yeah. You know, the landmark deal was the deal that we did and announced in March of 2014. So only 9 months ago, with Disney and ESPN. That was the landmark deal for a number of reasons. The first big programmer to grant these type of rights, over-the-top rights. Also, frankly, the one with the most important channel, ESPN. So when we sat down to renegotiate our satellite agreement with, for Dish Network with Disney, we found that they actually were aligned in thinking about what we were concerned about, which is we are going to be facing a declining market because the younger generation's not choosing pay TV. How do we reach them? And it's not going to be by replicating pay TV bundles over the internet. You need to be more innovative than that. You need to be more creative than that. And so we found a willing partner who had the same concern that we had. And once we announced that deal, other partners we found we're also lining up.
Yeah, once you get a big enough, massively respected brand to go in, everyone feels they have air cover.
Yeah, that's right. That's
to be honest, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I have a question for you about TV versus TV. You talk about how this younger generation that you're aimed at isn't so interested in buying the big TV bundle in the definition of programming. Are they going to watch, according to your research, a lot of this on a big screen through a smaller device, somehow connected or casting it to the TV on the wall? What do you know about TV on the wall behavior that will go with this? You
know, we know this from our Dish World experience, which, you might say, well, those are international languages. Why does that matter? Well, it matters because if I take Hindi, for instance, a lot of Hindi speakers in the US, there's different demographics. There's young, urban people living in apartments. They choose our service, our OTT service. There's families living in single-family homes. They choose the satellite service. So we see the demographic split today. And what we find is the mobile devices are accessed quite frequently. People watch content, but they watch it for shorter periods of time. Most of the viewing is done on the 10-foot devices, televisions.
All right. So that's still the expectation of the interface.
Yes.
Regardless of what device it comes through, you still expect an awful lot of it to be on the wall. Because it's such a big television show. It's interesting, to say, okay, what about all those devices in Central Hall that are in the 40, 50, 60, 70-inch class? What can we learn about them through what you've announced and what you apparently feel is going to be very strong?
The nice thing about this service is, if you think about, again, traditional pay TV, there might be some content you could watch on a tablet, but it's just a little bit. Ours is everything, right? Your content goes with you. You leave the home, you can watch everything on your tablet when you leave the home. It's not tethered to your TV.
Yeah.
So some people may start with a tablet and say, this is great, this is my TV, my tablet's my TV. And then, when they get a little bit older and say, no, I'm ready to buy, Samsung TV or LG TV, they'll buy a bigger TV and they watch it there.
And am I right that there is some on-demand content as part of this as well? It's not strictly live television.
Sure. Yes, there's lots of on-demand content. So with many of our channels, besides watching the live service, you can go back up to 3 days and watch any program that's been broadcast. It's really simple to access it. It's right in the guide. And then also, in addition to that, lots of VOD content from many of our channel providers.
And this is no market carve-outs. This is U.S., mainland U.S., nationwide?
Yes, all the U.S., all 50 states.
All 50 states?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Roger, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Roger Lynch is, as I've learned today, the CEO of Sling Television, as well as EVP of Advanced Technology at Dish. Thanks a lot. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Now, let's talk about some other trends and products that have been making waves here at CES. I couldn't help myself. I was checking Facebook last night. Actually, over the past few days, on Facebook, trending topics at CES, not regardless of CES, just trending topics. Sony Walkman just keeps popping up.
Really?
People are
Because
freaking
of that
out.
new one that came out here.
Yeah.
Well, we're scratching our heads over.
Granted, it is like a $1,200 Walkman.
$100 solid state Walkman.
Solid state MP3 playing MP3 Apple lossless FLAC.
FLAC. Ogg Vorbis, is that still in play these days?
I don't,
Probably.
Yeah, but yeah, people are just. I think they've been. I'm speaking as the MP3 player, kind of nut
dude.
still. For me, I've been seeing the Walkman brand kind of still trotted out year over year with Sony's MP3 players. To no, no excitement really, both in the industry and just outside of it. But
there's
somehow,
no market there anyway unless you do something different than what MP3 players have been.
Well, that's the interesting thing here is that the Walkman has been resurrected for the first time at this crazy price point.
Yeah.
At the same time, we're also seeing the Pono music player.
Let's take a look at one of the. There we go. There's the new Walkman. $1,200, right?
Yeah.
Beautifully made, real chunky. No attempt at being slim.
128 gigs of storage, which when you're dealing with 24-bit FLAC files is probably not as much as you'd hope it would be.
Interesting, yeah.
And runs Android, beautifully made, Sony craftsmanship, big buttons, gold-plated reinforced headphone jack. Really going for the audiophile crowd. I don't know how many of these are going to sell, but suddenly portable high-end audio is a thing. Like I could take this as maybe a fluke, but I think paired up with the Pono player too, the Neil Young project, which is being offered at what now sounds like a steal at $400.
Right, here's Pono. It's kind of a triangular shape. Looks like one of those parking berms.
Yeah.
It's yellow like a parking berm, so I don't know what the inspiration was there. But yeah, Neil Young is behind this. He's quite the music fidelity aficionado, which not every musician is. I mean, he's really into...
It's been a passion project of his, for sure.
Yeah, he's been working on this for, I feel like, a couple of years. This has been coming.
Yep.
But here it is, and like you mentioned, the price is cheap. By comparison.
By comparison. Maybe that was they were in collusion to make this players seem more affordable.
$500, you say?
Yeah. $400.
$400.
Yeah.
All right.
And both of them, both the Sony Walkman and the ZX2 Sony Walkman and the Pono player have their own special high-fidelity storage where you're buying your songs.
That's what I was going to ask.
So that's part of the equation. That's an essential part of the equation.
None of us are going to go back and dig out our CDs, if we still have them, and re-rip them into lossless or high bit rate. And even then, we're used to so much more choice now than in the early MP3 era. No CD library could satisfy anybody anymore. Right. We've really changed.
Yeah. So I find that that's an interesting trend that's popped up here, that was unexpected for me.
Without putting numbers on it, how popular do you think this is? Do you know anyone personally who's not in the tech biz who'd be excited about this?
No, I feel like the Neil Young thing makes more sense. I feel like there's definitely the 70s era 70s era audiophile who really went to all pains to get the gold-plated speaker cables and make their own amplifiers.
You come by my house one day, we'll look at my old Techniques receivers.
Right. And that's the same person who's going to have the affinity for Neil Young as someone who's going to champion that hi-fi rock and roll.
Yeah,
spirit.
my concern here is that, and I appreciate the quality of fidelity they're putting in here. It really is impressive. And the specs are really good. And folks, it does make a difference. Even if you once were into hi-fi and kind of lost track of it in the last 5 or 10 years, go listen to something good again. You probably have forgotten what you were missing, even if it's vinyl. Yeah. But the concern is it's got to be good, as you know, all the way down the chain. What kind of cans do you have on? Yeah. And what environment are you listening in? More portable players always suggest outdoors, and outdoors is a rough environment for high fidelity.
Yeah, yeah, you got to get the noise canceling in there, some other thing.
Yeah.
All right, now to really mix things up, another trend that I was not anticipating at all at CES. where it's things that get plugged into your body. I'm calling this segment Orifice Supplies.
Oh,
yeah, all right. All right, so one is the Pacify. This is a smart pacifier, and if you want, you can take my screen here. This is a $40 smart pacifier that can track your child's temperature. It can track their activity, and it's a way for you to ignore your child and check in with them on your smartphone instead. No, it's a way for you to have a better sense of temperature without having to.
When we get back to
do more
CNET, the boss is
invasive
going to make me wear one of these. Finally, they can measure how much I suck.
Oh.
All right. Now, going to the other end of the story, if you will.
The other end.
If you will, is
Yes.
the Penguin
The
scope.
Penguin scope is an endoscope for nervous parents here. Not as, it's really meant for the ear, so you can take a little look inside.
But
and
not restricted to the ear.
not completely restricted to the ear,
All right.
but it will output the image.
So, scale up to that. Let's take a look at the tip. That's where it goes.
There you
That's
go.
very small. As you can see the person's hand, it's a very small tip. It's like one of those in-ear thermometers, but it's not a thermometer. It's that, and it's a camera.
It's a camera.
Still camera.
Like a
But it's a camera.
VGA camera that will hook up to your computer.
Our photographer Sarah too is right here saying,
I don't know.
"Really?
That's
That's one camera I don't even have." So-
This could be good for tech photography too. Maybe if there's, we could get Bill Detweiler one of these, and you can get like a real cracking open view of.
Great
Yeah.
cracking open
Yeah,
camera. Wait a
exactly.
minute. Not just for tech.
Right.
And then we've got this one that came from Bosch. This is the new home endoscopy camera. Let's take a look at this.
No, this is
48-inch probe with
Yeah.
a camera and an LED at the end.
You said-
That'll come out up here somewhere. All right, just so if you go all the way. Now that's a Home Depot I have one of these though. This is really good. If you're punching electrical wires in your house and you can't see in the drywall.
part of this that
these are
worries me
great.
most is the 12-volt part of it.
Right. You do not want to short this.
Right.
You do not want to short.
All
unless
right,
you're-
so just so
There
you
it
know,
is, the best imager length. You better believe it.
The quantified self is now really getting a little bit more
It's getting
invasive.
wet. That's the part I don't like. Yeah.
All right.